Whoa, it's me again. And whoa, today is April 16th, 2022. I was actually in the midst of making my facts video, my facts, talking about what is a fact. How facts aren't what always we think that they are because we have our own biasm with our own limited vessels which we travel in, known as the body, which is rather biased in itself and our perception. So a lot of things we perceive as fact is not really fact at all. It's just a matter of perception that most people have, which somehow we go out as fact. That's why you have philosophy. I was going in through that whole history and talking about actual facts, like things you can like count and measure outside of our own perception. Even then, we're kind of limited within our three-dimensional beings because we see ourselves as 3 dimensions. We perceive things in 3 dimensions. If you go into 4 and 5 dimensions, we're going to look completely different. And even what we know now might not be the case because if you go in the 4th and 5th dimensions, we're going to look completely different. It's crazy, right? This whole fact thing, really, it's just limited by our own perception. So as you know, I guess I was trying not to report anymore on GP. I think I was done with that, but he did respond, thankfully, and thank you, GP, for responding to my tweet for asking questions with the drilling supervisor for Hudspeth operating. There was a conversation with him and it stated that drilling will begin in June. I asked GP if this is true or not. Hello, at Palicaris, drilling supervisor for Hudspeth operating says that lateral drilling on the new 4 vertical wells begins June 1st and it's public information. Can you confirm this information? I sincerely appreciate your help. Happy Beak, Roller Pigeons. George Palicaris says there's no plan for lateral drilling well by Meta. So there's no planned start date by June at this time. If there is any material newsworthy of an announcement, it will be made publicly available through official PR and presentations. That would be nice. We have yet to get that special presentation on the dividend. We've been waiting, over 40 days now. But I appreciate his tweet and what he can talk about in terms of Meta. I respond with how this is indeed specific language that he's using. So he says by Meta. As I talked about in my last video, that there is, that they have to get this asset off their books, right? So once it's off the books, that's when it spins out, which we said by June. If there's a spin out date by June, and then they're drilling, well, of course it's not by Meta. It's by something else at that point. Either Oil Co. would be a private company and it's not by Meta as opposed to GP. Or it's, it could be something else. Maybe it's a public company, again, which is not under Meta, and it's something else that's related. At any rate, this sort of confirms for me by the specific language that the spin out will indeed be completed by June. So thank you, GP, for giving me another clue to help me get my timeline going of when the spin out will take place. It's interesting how he said if there's anything newsworthy, there'll be a presentation. But we haven't seen the presentation yet. So I hope that they're working on it or that something is newsworthy because I find that really interesting how nothing has been newsworthy yet. I mean, we're talking about 3.2 billion barrels of oil, maybe 3.5 or 3.7 billion barrels of oil. I calculated 3.1 a long time ago. That was just based on statistical weights of the different variances at the time of data sets, but it wound up being 3.2 by Nextbridge. So I was really excited about that. So at any rate, this thing kind of confirms people are taking it, I think, in a bit different direction. I didn't even know he responded to me. I just got a flood of Twitter tweets like this of GP hitting me and all these funny memes, people taking their time out to think of me. And then I realized, why are they doing that? And then somebody said that he responded to me, and it was hard to see because it's just a flood of people now putting you like mentions in other conversations. I hope we will see a presentation soon, but I know the specific language game. I know the semantics game this is trying to play. He's used the semantics game before historically. I want to point this out. Just, in case you want to like go with it your own way. That's your thing. If you want to speculate on your way, I can speculate it on my way. We can all take how we want to speculate on this. I take this as the semantics being that indeed by June 1st, this isn't going to be a meta thing. It's going to be its separate thing. Whether private or public, we don't know yet. As I was editing this, so this is an edit insert. Here to drop knowledge says, good job on spinning GP's words. As you claim someone said something is going to happen. Again, referring to the June reference. A GP says the real thing that's happening, meaning that Meta has no plans to drill. Hudspeth, Operating, and Oilco are both Meta. Oh, good. Yes, we know that. Good job putting a spin on GP's words even after he gave you a straightforward response. Well, he said by Meta. Again, look at this straightforward response. Liz asks, what's up with the board request for a reverse split? Seems shady to say 1-for-1 torch and then drop reverse split on torch only. Yeah, it's 1-to-1, but after shares are reversed. This came in March. And George Palikaris responded later that day, hi Liz, reverse or forward splits are tools. For example, reverse split is used to keep a company above $1 to comply with NASDAQ minimum listing rules to avoid speculation. There is no plan to reverse split torch before the business combination with Meta. Hope this helps. So there was no plan, of course, to reverse split before the business combination. Again, he didn't say after. And that, kind of cleared the books. I see this as also a semantic game. I know he likes to play that semantic game, given the past history. This means indeed that the oil and gas asset will be, I think, spun out by June. I will say this. There is a 2022 drilling plan, as I've discussed about. That was on the Torchlight 2010K that talked about the 5 new wells. There is a permitted for a lateral in February, but if they haven't drilled it yet, then it is planned. And it's not going to be by Meta. There's no plans in the future, GP said. And if indeed, here to drop knowledge, this is true, that where he states that indeed, Oilco and Hudspeth are under Meta, then perhaps this does support that the spin out will indeed be public, because that would satisfy all the agreements, would it not? Right? It would be public. This is how I think, by the way. So one of two things is going to happen. One, we are going to have a sale very quickly, and thus we do not have to satisfy the 2022 drilling plan. And that sort of satisfies everything if there's no plan to drill. Right? 2, Meta has no plans to drill. We have plans to do the 2022 drilling plan before the sale. To satisfy this, then maybe the spin-out has to be a public company, which we've sort of touched upon as a possibility earlier. Again, I'm just reporting as I find it. It also sort of confirms again that funding, that $25 million capital funding, is sort of in the works now. If it does have like an actual day, if dates are lining up, and indeed that supervisor, what he said was true. Again, it's all speculation. I'm just reporting on what I perceive, on what I find. We have been planning for both scenarios over time. I've talked about the benefits of if it is a private company versus a public while we wait for the asset to sell in the dividend wise. I know a lot of people, myself included, don't really want something public because, yeah, it can just be shorted again. Also, when it's public and the dividend is declared, you're not, it's not going to affect at that point anything on the meta side. Fun fact. If it goes public and the dividend is declared, for example, they sell and they're like, yeah, we're going to get shares in, XYZ company. That won't really affect the meta side of things. If Oilco is a private company and a dividend is declared, then it does affect the meta side of things. So just a heads up there on the mechanics of how that would work. Only time will tell, and we don't know because we're stuck in this time. Again, this is like a dimensional thing. We're stuck in this time and we can't really see the future. Maybe you have abilities to see the future. If you do, comment below, let me know. Maybe drop some lottery numbers for me. That would be cool. All right, guys, that's it for today. Again, I'm very shocked that George Palacaris responded to me, and now that confirms like he knows of the bird lady's existence. Wow. And I didn't know. I just saw these wonderful pictures and memes coming in to try and poo-poo on me, which is cool because, I mean, people are taking their time out to do stuff with me. They think it's bad, but it's like, you're still, like, thinking about me all that time. Thanks. I was working hard on the true facts video, which I said I'm going to have fun with, and I mean it. I'm going to have fun with it. My goal is to give everybody an existential crisis with these facts videos because nothing's more fun than trying to relax and watching a video about facts and you get an existential crisis. That's how I feel about all those Kyrgyzstan YouTube videos. They always give me an existential crisis when I watch them. Okay, guys, I will see you soon. Goodbye.